President Trump took part in a wreath-laying ceremony to mark Veterans Day earlier today. It's the first time during his second term that the president is celebrating the occasion. Trump was accompanied by Vice President J.D. Vance and Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins. The president laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. The cemetery is just outside Washington, D.C. in Arlington, Virginia. Over 400,000 U.S. service personnel and their family members have been laid to rest there. Here's President Trump.
On Veterans Day, we honor those who have worn the uniform, who have borne the battle, who have stood to watch, and whose ranks have formed the mighty wall of flesh and blood, bravery and devotion that has defended our freedom for 250 years. Today, to every veteran, we love our veterans, we say the words too often left unsaid. Thank you for your service. Thank you very much. And we want to also say thank you for carrying America's fate on your strong, very broad, and proud shoulders.
I happen to believe that the most valuable resource that we have isn't the incredible wealth of natural resources of this country, as amazing as it is. The most important natural resource that we have is that we have hundreds of thousands of young people every single month who sign up to put on the uniform and risk their lives for their fellow citizens. That is a resource we cannot squander. That is a resource we must protect.
Veterans Day honors all military personnel who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces. President Trump announced today that he will add Victory Day for World War I onto the name of Veterans Day. Veterans Day was originally seen as a marker for the end of World War I and created to honor World War I veterans, but was later expanded to celebrate all veterans. In May, Trump issued a proclamation for Victory Day for World War II, commemorating the end of that war.
America's warriors never quit, never surrender. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. That's what we do. We win battles. As you know, today is not only Veterans Day, but it's my proclamation that we are now going to be saying and calling Victory Day for World War I. Victory Day, you know, I was recently at an event and I saw France was celebrating Victory Day, but we didn't. And I saw France was celebrating another Victory Day for World War II. And other countries were celebrating. They were all celebrating. We're the one that won the wars. And I said, from now on, we're going to say Victory Day for World War I and World War II.
And while government offices are currently closed, plenty of stores and restaurants are open today. Many of them are offering free meals and special discounts to those who've served in the military. The U.S. stock market is open for trading, but the bond market and most banks are closed. UPS and FedEx deliveries are running on schedule today, even as the post office stays closed and there's no regular mail service. Many major retailers, including Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, are open with Veterans Day sales and special promotions. Restaurants nationwide are also showing their appreciation by offering free meals, coffee, and discounts for service members and veterans. The Military Wallet has a list on its website of free meals and discounts establishments are offering this year, so check it out. As one of New York City's most cherished traditions, the annual Veterans Day Parade has kicked off along Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. NTD's Dave Martin is on site. Dave, good to see you there. What's going on? Give us your update.
Oh, a lot's going on, Steph. Yeah, I'm at 5th and 27th here in New York City. As you know, Steph, we got a little touch of winter today. We've got an Arctic blast coming in. It's like 30-something degrees outside. It's windy, but a lot of people are showing up here to honor the veterans. This is the 106th annual Veterans Day Parade, so it's a very big deal here in New York City. And of course, the focus is on the veterans. Now, I talked to a few of them earlier. Here's what they said.
All my friends that I have lost over the years, I served from 1970 to 1976 in the United States Army, and later on I rejoined the Army at the end of 1976. Keep alive all those that did not make it. And that's why I continue to serve. I'm a member of the American Legion for 45 years.
Yeah, Veterans Day is a day for us veterans. We serve the country. That's what veterans do, serve our country, give up our lives. You know, to sign a check on that dotted line and stuff, we're up to our lives. That's what Veterans Day is for me, you know, for all the veterans.
Yeah. So the parade started just a few minutes ago, and we're really at the beginning. It's going to go all the way down to 46th Street. They're expecting about 20,000 service members. You got about 280 plus marching bands going on, maybe 25 or so floats, a whole lot of vehicles. So a big deal here in New York City for our Veterans Day. So a big deal here, Steph.
Great report, Dave. It looks very cold out there. Stay warm. Thanks for getting out there and giving us the voice of the people. And the longest government shutdown in history is nearing an end after 41 days. Senators late last night approved a bipartisan deal, but not without pushback from the left flank. NTD's Melina Weiskup reports.
It was a shutdown about nothing. I mean, what we're voting on is effectively exactly what we offered them several weeks back. We've added some appropriations bills now, which we're in favor of because it's getting us back to the regular order.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is bringing lawmakers back to D.C. after nearly 2 months. They'll vote Wednesday on a bill to reopen the government after 7 Senate Democrats and 1 independent voted with Republicans.
The bill as amended is passed.
Democrats who flipped in the end said after 40 days of following their leadership's all-or-nothing strategy, they realized that Republicans wouldn't cave to their demands.
I got the first good night's sleep last night that I've gotten since October 1 because I wasn't worried about being able to look Capitol Police in the eye when I walked in, or what a furloughed federal worker would say to me at church, or what somebody would say to me about their SNAP benefits.
The original goal Democrats held was to force Republicans' hand on Obamacare renewal. In the end, they did secure a vote on the healthcare issue in December and a promise that those bipartisan talks will go on, President Trump vowing to work on healthcare.
We want a healthcare system where we pay the money to the people instead of the insurance companies. And I tell you, we're going to be working on that very hard over the next short period of time.
But with no guaranteed outcome, most Democrats remain dissatisfied.
A deal to end our leverage, which produces simply some vote in the future that won't actually be a bill that has a chance of getting out of the Senate, let alone through the House. And that undercut our effort, for sure, to produce a health care win.
As for what's in this deal, aside from the promised Obamacare vote in the Senate, is full-year funding for a few aspects of government. Funding for the rest of the government will be patched up until the end of January. It will also rehire federal employees who were terminated during the shutdown and guarantee that they'll get back pay, and a pledge to prevent future slashes to the federal workforce. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
Thank you, Melina. House Speaker Mike Johnson would not guarantee a vote on Affordable Care Act subsidies, saying the House would need to find a consensus on a proposal. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries won't say if Democrats will force a shutdown again in January if they don't end up getting a vote on the ACA. Here's a clip of both leaders taking questions from reporters yesterday.
There's going to be another funding deadline come January 30th if this proposal goes through. If you don't get what you guys want on ACA, are you willing to shut the government down again?
I mean, we're going to cross that bridge when we get to it. Right now, we're focused on dealing with the bill that's coming over from the Senate to the House, and we're going to fight hard to defeat it.
Mr. Speaker, can you guarantee whatever, if a bill passes the Senate on ACA, you'll give it a vote in the House?
Look, we're going to do in the House what we always do. That is a deliberative process. I mean, we got to find consensus on whatever the proposal is.
Well, we bring it to the floor for a vote.
As you know, I do not guarantee the outcome of legislation or dates or deadlines or anything.
The Inflation Reduction Act extended the Affordable Care Act tax credits until the end of this year. If these credits expire, some studies say many Americans could see their insurance premiums double. Other experts told the Epoch Times they doubt that will happen. They agree ACA costs are rising fast, but they're skeptical about warnings of huge rate spikes. As part of a compromise to lead the vote, Senate Majority Leader John Thune promised a Senate vote on ACA subsidies in December. Yet some Democrats doubt the Senate's ACA extension will pass the House. or be signed by President Trump. We'll keep you updated. The Federal Aviation Administration is cutting flight capacity nationwide, even as Congress moves closer to ending the government shutdown. And President Trump says his administration is working to modernize the United States air traffic control system.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and, technology for our control towers. We're in final bids of getting the finest system anywhere in the world. I've analyzed it. Sean Duffy has been working really hard on it, doing a fantastic job, by the way. And over the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be handing out the finest air traffic control system anywhere in the world. All the towers will be equipped.
Starting today, the FAA says flights across the country will be reduced by 6%. The cuts follow a 4% reduction last Friday, with plans to increase to 10% by the end of the week. Air traffic controllers are set to miss a second paycheck today, and the staffing shortage has already caused thousands of flight cancellations nationwide. President Trump this morning warned of significant economic and national security consequences if the Supreme Court were to rule against his global tariffs. NTD's Daniel Monahan has more on that and the president's comment on the deal to end the government shutdown.
If it's a deal I heard about, that's certainly, they want to change the deal a little bit, but I would say so. I think based on everything I'm hearing, they haven't changed anything, and we have support from enough Democrats, and we're going to be opening up our country.
The bill as amended is passed.
Trump says the agreement will prevent money going to illegal immigrants.
We're not going to be giving $1.5 trillion to people that came in from jails and from the gangs and drug dealers and all of these others that they wanted to be given health care, which would have hurt our health care system.
Trump also commented on tariffs, saying the potential unwind of the tariffs would involve numbers in excess of $3 trillion.
The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs.
The president says it would, quote, truly become devastating to the future of our country, possibly non-sustainable. The Supreme Court case marks a critical test of the legality of Trump's global tariffs. The president's administration justified the tariffs under emergency powers, citing economic and national security considerations. Trump has proposed passing on some of the tariff revenue to the American people.
We're going to issue a dividend to our middle-income people and lower-income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing.
He also credited the tariffs for contributing to what he described as declines in inflation, particularly in food and energy prices. Meanwhile, the Trump administration is again asking the Supreme Court to allow its National Guard deployment in Illinois, saying federal immigration agents can't handle enforcement on their own. In a new filing, Solicitor General John Sawyer urges extraordinary deference to the president and cites a section of federal law which allows a president to call up the Guard when he is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States. Illinois and Chicago are challenging the move, accusing the administration of misinterpreting the statute. Lower courts have blocked the deployment, saying Trump hasn't met the legal threshold. The administration says the National Guard is needed to protect federal immigration facilities amid clashes with protesters and for crime prevention. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Thank you, Daniel. President Trump is taking his dispute with magazine columnist E. Jean Carroll to the nation's highest court. It's the latest development in the years-long legal battle over allegations of sexual assault and defamation. Here are the details.
President Trump yesterday asked the U.S. Supreme Court to review a $5 million civil judgment against him. The case stems from a 2023 verdict that found Trump liable for sexually assaulting writer E. Jean Carroll in a Manhattan department store in the 1990s, and defaming her decades later when he made comments saying she made up the story to sell her new book. Last year, a federal appeals court upheld the jury's verdict and the $5 million judgment. However, Trump's lawyers argue the judge in that trial made a number of errors. They accuse him over warping federal evidence rules to bolster Carroll's, quote, implausible, unsubstantiated assertions. Trump's legal team also says there were no eyewitnesses, no video evidence, and no police report or investigations into the alleged assault. They also argue there was no physical or DNA evidence to support Carroll's story. A spokesperson for Trump's legal team said the appeal was part of the president's campaign against what he called liberal lawfare. Carroll's lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, said earlier she does not believe Trump will be able to present any legal issues that merit review. For now, the Supreme Court has not yet decided whether to hear the case. Trump also owes Carroll more than $80 million in another defamation case for repeating his comments about Carroll in 2022. Another federal appeals panel called that judgment reasonable and rejected several challenges from Trump.
A Utah judge has rejected a new congressional map drawn by Republican lawmakers. The judge instead approved a plan that creates a Democratic-leaning district ahead of the 2020 midterm elections. Republicans currently hold all 4 of Utah's U.S. House seats and proposed a map designed to protect them. Judge Deanna Gibson ruled the GOP plan unduly favors Republicans and disfavors Democrats. She selected a map submitted by plaintiffs, including the League of Women Voters of Utah. The map keeps Salt Lake County largely in one district rather than splitting the heavily Democratic area across all 4. The ruling gives Democrats a stronger chance to flip a seat in a state that has not elected a Democrat to Congress since early 2021. New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani has appointed a seasoned fiscal policy expert as his first deputy mayor. Dean Foley Han brings 40 years of government experience, including his past roles as budget director and deputy mayor under Bill de Blasio. Here's Mamdani.
I am proud to announce my first deputy mayor and my chief of staff, 2 leaders who have deep experience guiding our city and state through challenging moments, possess the fresh, innovative ideas needed to transform our city, and the expertise to help me deliver on the campaign promises that resonated with more than 1 million New Yorkers.
Mamdani also named his state assembly chief of staff to lead city hall operations. Mamdani says he aims to create a new city hall, blending experienced leadership with outside voices. Fullahan will oversee major fiscal responsibilities and could help navigate state-level approvals. Mamdani has advocated for publicly funded childcare, transit, and grocery stores, policies that have drawn criticism, including from Governor Kathy Hochul. President Trump criticized Mamdani's victory, but later said his administration will still support New York. And holiday shoppers are getting a financial break this year. Target is slashing prices on 3,000 everyday items for the holiday season. Target is targeting food, beverages, and household items for price cuts. The company wants to attract shoppers who are tightening budgets for a buffer against economic changes. Minneapolis-based Target said its Thanksgiving meal will now cost less than $5 per person. The store's meal kit will cost under $20 compared to $20 a year ago. Walmart and Aldi have made similar moves. Now, getting eloped or eloping might not be as romantic as having a traditional wedding, but it could help your wallet. Over the past 5 years, the price tag on an average wedding has risen nearly 20% to $33,000. That's according to wedding marketplace The Knot. And that upward trend is expected to continue. Roughly 20% of vendors say tariff charges on non-U.S. countries have caused their prices to go up for items including dresses, rings, and even cake ingredients. Now, the CEO of The Knot Worldwide says vendors have to make tough calls and decide whether to raise prices or absorb the additional costs themselves. I'm Stephania Cox, and this is World Watch. 12 people are dead in Pakistan after a suicide attack. A suicide bomber struck outside the gates of a district court in Islamabad. The attacker detonated his explosives next to a police car. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the midday blast. 27 people were also wounded. Witnesses described scenes of mayhem in the immediate aftermath of the attack. The explosion came at a busy time of day when the area outside the court is typically crowded with hundreds of visitors. The attacker tried to enter the court premises but was unsuccessful. Authorities have struggled over the past months with a resurgent Pakistani Taliban, border tensions, and a fragile ceasefire with neighboring Afghanistan. And Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Canada today. He's set to meet with the group of 7 foreign ministers while there. The officials are scheduled to discuss Ukraine and the Middle East, among other topics. President Trump has been working on ending the 2 conflicts, but has met with setbacks. The founder of the G7 research group at the University of Toronto says it's likely foreign ministers will accomplish more at this week's meeting than the earlier meeting of G7 heads of state. And a Russian street musician is being handed more jail time after singing anti-Kremlin songs. 18-year-old Diana Loganova has already spent nearly a month in prison. She sang versions of songs composed by critics of the Kremlin. A court in St. Petersburg now ruled she should spend another 13 days in jail on a public order offense. The band's guitarist, who's also her boyfriend, was also handed another 13 days in jail by the same court. Ceremonies were held in Britain and France today, marking the end of World War I. French President Emmanuel Macron laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Paris. The British royal family laid wreaths at a similar event in London. Today is known as Armistice Day, Veterans Day, or now Victory Day in the United States, and Remembrance Day in Britain. From 1914 to 1918, the armies of France, the British Empire, Russia, and the U.S. fought against a German-led coalition. The war killed almost 10 million soldiers. Sometimes tens of thousands died in a single day. And Taiwan evacuated more than 3,000 people from areas likely to see heavy impact from Tropical Storm Fangwang. The island closed schools and offices ahead of its arrival, where it's expected to make landfall tomorrow afternoon or evening. Fangwang was previously a typhoon. It devastated the Philippines, where it killed at least 25 people and displaced over 1.4 million. China has activated an emergency typhoon response for its southeastern provinces. The region is still recovering from September's powerful typhoon Ragasa. That's all we have time for at the moment, but if you have any feedback on the show or have something you'd like to see us cover, send us an email at news.today@ntd.com. We'd love to hear from you. For round-the-clock original news coverage, watch us live at ntd.com/live or just download our NTD app. We'll cover more news right after this break.